future of Web3 is in this room. As much as I believe in decentralized systems, I really believe in awesome institutions. This is MIT. So you guys are badass, and you guys are going to build the future. So even if you don't listen to me, that's fine, because at least I have your ear for a few minutes, and I can talk with you how I think we can move Web3 into the next dimension. I think Web3 is inevitable. The reason I think that is because it's just I want to have a show of hands who feels like they have a really solid definition of Nobody. Nobody has a solid definition of Web3. I love that. I was hoping someone would. I was hoping a couple people would. And we would see that they were sort of in conflict. But you guys are too smart for that. And I love that about you. So yeah, Web3 is sort of an ill-defined concept. And when I tell people I work in Web3, they say, what is that? And I say, honestly, it's not really anything yet. But from a young age, I have worked in a career field that I do believe is inevitable. And I'll tell you a bit more why in a second. But what I have tried to do is be, where'd my little thing go? Had a little picture of a Rosetta Stone. I tried to strive to be a Rosetta Stone. Talk to the brilliant people building in space, and then kind of the regular rest of us who don't really understand what's happening, and help you make things that everyone else will like and interact with. So Web3 is inevitable, but you have to make it impactful. You have to make it. I specialize, you guys, I was early. I specialize in selling difficult things, because they're things people think are complicated. Like I said, I try to be the Rosetta Stone. I specialize in selling things in Web3 because I believe Web3 is the greatest marketplace for human collaboration and creativity ever. Peer-to-peer, it's borderless, you have verifiable credentials and experience, disintermediated access, and no status-based access. Right now, to have certain trades or certain interactions, you have to have enough credentials to interact with Goldman Sachs. In Web3, just your experience is enough to make that happen. I think that's amazing, and I think that's important. But Web3 is complicated. It feels complicated to most people. That's because it's associated with other things that are good for people, but also kind of complicated. Like peer-to-peer communication, sound money, censorship-resistant connection, personal sovereignty, data protection, and creative evolution. This is not a conversation about onboarding people into Web3. This is a conversation about building products that people are excited about using with principles of Web3 in mind, those principles that I just mentioned. This is not a conversation about onboarding because I think we're still kind of a nation. When Steve Case started AOL in 1989, 3% of Americans were online for less than an hour per week. I don't need to tell you guys it's really not the case anymore, and that the next leaders of today are probably online for most of their waking up. Web3 is kind of in the same position. MetaMask right now has 30 million active wallets, which is already 40 times what it was 2 years ago. And Web3 JavaScript has 20 times as many downloads every single year past. So if Moore's law said that chips were doubling 2 times every year, then I think Vitalik's law says that people trying to be developers are doubling 20 times every year, which is really insane. That's why I say Web3 is inevitable, right? Because it's already happening. It's just the next evolution. We get to decide if it has the values that we want, or just kind of the same old thing. I think it's a passing fad, and I think it's very similar to this article that came out in December 2000. It said the internet might just be a piece. Right? So instead of letting it be a passing fad, or instead of trying to force it to be a revolutionary thing, let's just use it to show people that it will be something that impacts their life by building something that positively impacts their life. Okay? I want to give an example of why this is not a conversation about onboarding by showing you Amazon's first TV ad. Is it on? So you get the idea. But the reason that I'm showing you that is really to emphasize this not onboarding concept, right? Like Amazon wasn't like, okay, you're gonna come on to our internet platform and you're gonna use our network servers in order to coordinate the sale and delivery of products that you need. And we're gonna send a query to a warehouse that then gonna deliver it, which is how people talk about Web3 right now. They're like, I don't really know what I have for you, but it's on a decentralized platform and you're gonna love it, right? Amazon said, we have the things that you need this holiday season. Go to our website and you'll figure out the rest because you want what we have, right? So I wanted to think about what people want that you might have. So some guiding principles. Thinking beyond just the Web3, peer-to-peer communication, all of that. What does Web3 look like in the future? What does it power? The first is embrace multiple personalities. So we've been taught that having multiple personalities is not a good, bad thing. But actually, the way that the internet is evolving is curating and encouraging multiple personalities based on the communities that you're in. Having multiple personalities becomes your superpower. And this looks like multiple digital identities. So you will express yourself as a series of identities, skills, and tokens. It will not only be accepted, but expected to do so. And you have to honor that some identities will be more private than others. So these are a series of NFTs that I have used for the past 2 years to identify. I personally don't actually think NFTs are very cool for personal identity, but they're kind of what we're working with in the Web3 space. Some of them I sold, some of them I've kept, but depending on which conference I was going to, which Discord I was entering, or what mood I was in, I was presenting myself as these different. Your product will be part of crafting the unique digital identity that your user is creating. And I put this screenshot from Ready Player One because I think it's really easy to explain some parts of the metaverse. And he says, yeah, that's me. Well, that's my avatar. Until I feel like I think this is mostly accurate, except for based on whatever key he's using to enter different doors, he'll have multiple personalities going at any given. And so your product needs to be part of creating those new personalities and needs to let different personalities in. And you have to ensure that the user has a choice in how these different personalities are shared and what part of their identity. Choosing your governance is choosing your government. So the governments of the future will not emerge from the governments. Having a token is participating in the future of someone. You will be governed by the token. So right now, our nation state decide lots of things about our physical life. We have a neighborhood association, decides how we moderate the content that we watch, what children are allowed to consume, decides our monetary policy, our education, healthcare, and regulations around gaming. In the future, the tokens that you hold will be you opting in to multiple different protocols. And so if you're creating something in Web3 and you're issuing a token, you have to recognize that you're part of someone's little government. The metaverse is not a game, it is a landscape for our attention. So if you're thinking about the metaverse as a game, don't think it's important. In the attention economy, if it doesn't make you passionate and doesn't make you excited, then you're doing. So that what that means is that the metaverse is a way for people to experience themselves, to experience the little pieces of digital soul. It applies to things as boring as bank accounts, or security, or healthcare. And it doesn't mean that they're walking around aimlessly in some way, but it means that they get to experience their investment. It means that they get to experience advice from an AI healthcare. But that should feel like something that feels close to them. It shouldn't feel like something they're excited. The last thing is that in the end, few people really care if what you're building is centralized, which for me is kind of a bummer, but it's just a fact. They will care way more about what they get to own and if they get to earn from it, sell from it. So those are just a few principles that I kind of try to base things off of. And now we can talk more specifically about component designing a Web3 product. Some of it's a little bit sacrilegious, Because what I really want to focus on is how you can actually let people come into the universe of your product, come into the world that you're trying to build, without forcing a conversation around Web3. Like I said, I think the future of Web3 is in this room, so I believe in principles. So I want to give us some flexibility. The first thing is you can use email. You can use traditional email, you can use social media. It's okay to not have Connect Wallet be the first way that someone interacts with your platform, right? So some people, that's immediately precludes them. I'm partnered with a group called Overline, and they're really amazing technologists who created an uncensorable communication network. And we gave our future validators free land in the metaverse to represent their participation in. And the way we did it was having them claim the Missouri. We're now the biggest Web3 metaverse by a pretty large magnitude, with over 900,000 unique accounts. And that's because we made it a little bit easier to join in. And then we incorporated all the Web3, and then we incorporated. So you can build your platform first, right? And you can bring in your Web3 components later. Reddit Vault has 50 million people just using Reddit. They love Reddit. It provides a great service. Okay? 4 months, they got 3 million new wallets. Most of them had never used it. Why? Because they already liked what they were doing. And they didn't use the words NFT or Web3 a single time. Find that. You can offer different opportunities to get on chain. Right? So a group called Mad Realities, and they create crowdfunding shows. And in their portal, you sign up with your email or your phone number. And then you have the first opportunity you will use. Whichever one you choose, you never see represents your ability to do your. After that, you have the opportunity to trading and using a token to get into the. What that means is when the user onboards themselves because they want to experience it, you give them that opportunity. Know that a token is not a product, a token is a mechanism, a token is a vehicle for delivering some kind of service value. There's too many tokens everywhere, nobody knows where they're issuing them. We saw that with a lot of NFTs by celebrities who just, because of scares them. And I really don't want us to live in a world digital boarded. And recognize that Web3 goes. So I highly recommend it. She uses decentralized identifiers to create data tags for people to navigate Web3 with the ability to keep information on and choose when and how they bring it. Because protecting people means that sometimes you shouldn't. And I'd like you to ask yourself when you're building your, does this need to be put on chain? Think about on and off chain as more of a, how are we putting things in place? Still safe. And we don't need to sacrifice data privacy here. Break us. Decentralized organizations might still need leaders. A lot of them. Web3 is often combined. Pretty clear process. How guild, how reward, what bounties. Laying it out. And then is really helpful. You're going to build it down. Decentralized. Right? And give your users the opportunity to build their on-chain experience. Little or I think there's a difference between people. So I'm really checking out where people can learn to use crypto applications and versus something like Bored Ape Yacht Club, which got a lot of publicity for being a big Web3 project, but it's like pretty preclude basically everyone participated, and it's a little bit goofy, right? So give people that opportunity to start building their own. And we were talking about how you can use low-cost chains to do that. Finally, ask yourself if your users succeed without exiting. So I think one of the things that people who want free ownership opportunity to face together, one of the problems we still encounter is the only way to really succeed is not how to keep something the same. So again, that group that I we created something called a loyalty PFP. What we did is we took the classic PFP and showed you. We made them get 50% on trading to thank our clients. So they never have to leave our universe in order to be thanked, in order to be rewarded. I think the future of training is in this room. I would love to talk with you about how to make that new, how to make that your product. And I would hope that maybe this is helpful to really take it beyond the buzzwords into something people are actually excited about using and actually. Yes. Thank you. Does anyone have questions? Yeah. You first in the with. Yeah. Yeah, for sure. I think I'm gonna say one. I think one of the things that I find interesting is, and kind of the key is to show them something that they enjoy first, and then sort of ask them to onboard. So, hey, we want you to vote in this thing. Okay, you're gonna vote in it. You'll sign up, and then you get to cast your vote, and then we'll ask you to go to. Or we will give you, some game like something isn't on the blockchain to let you know your first experience, and then we'll let you. Or we'll give you something for free. Like in games specifically, play to own is a really valuable thing. So you sign up and then you get your first asset. It's in the game, but if you want to trade it, you get to make your choice to migrate it on. So you're getting people what you're doing. Do you have one?
It's a very similar question actually, because this onboarding part we didn't use with free or not.
Yeah.
Something that I faced in the past.
Yeah.
Like we weren't sure, okay, should we use emails to sign up so we have more users? But then the decision was no, we shouldn't, because then we are not using investors. They are looking for a blockchain application, we are not proving your solution.
Yeah.
So just like want to know your opinion about that. How do you start something
Yeah.
on blockchain?
No, I think it's kind of goofy, like how we really fetishize Web3, but like we don't really even know. Like nobody raised their hand. Maybe that's because you're fine and it's okay, but like it is kind of a weird thing, right? And so I think if we go back to what I was talking about AOL in 1989, right? Let's say that maybe we're in the equivalent of 1981. That still means you're a decade away from people using Google and impactful products coming. And I think you can think about Web3 in the same way. Like, we need to get people to start using it as little bits. Start figuring out what ownership is. And if it's not on chain, if that doesn't make sense for you, it doesn't need to be on chain. If it doesn't have a double spend problem, it doesn't really need to be on chain, And so take those principles of ability, user-owned platforms, right, and disintermediate and not needing special access in order to be safe and build and play and like just so silly, I think anyway, it's full of BS kind of just that you have to have blockchain or Web3 to make it legit. Because I love blockchain and Web3, and then people do crazy things with it. So I don't but like focusing on the values. Can you control your data? Can you own the platform? Do you need to have some kind of special permissions in order to, you know? At the beginning, everyone was like, I don't know what Web3 is. Does anyone like want to ask basic questions, or it's sure?
I heard like blockchain makes it easy to have the infra of a company in the beginning, and I want to know if it's true. For example, if I'm gonna build a new company, they have to have a payment method, and I have a lot of things to be like structured.
Yeah.
Blockchain might make it easy because it's all on the same layer, the blockchain.
Yeah.
Do you think is it true, or because it seems more complicated to me?
Your question is about for payment methods specifically? Yes. I think it depends, right? Like if you want to reach a crypto native audience, it's very easy for me. It's very easy for me to participate with a product, and I kind of like it because then I don't have to migrate my Ethereum over into. But for example, this group that we're working with almost 1 million people, a ton of them don't even own crypto and have engaged. And so we have both payments. So I think that is more of an audience question. But if you want to have blockchain integration, eventually you will to figure how to use. Kind of depends on, looking for what you're. So now let's see if we're going to have a much more conversation about prototyping. I am very excited. Oh, sorry. Yeah.
Just basically, saw that you have used integrating payment system for those customers that are not.
Yeah.
In your opinion, what are those partners that are more valuable or more better interaction between people who are not crypto native that you wanna bring up into your product?
Yeah.
On one thing.
Yeah. Well, I think that unfortunately, they're kind of separate things, and so it's more about, if I'm understanding, more about okay, you can use Stripe to process credit card payments, and then they're there, and they're kind of in your little universe, and then you could use something like BitPay to actually have the crypto payment, and you can say, hey, you could say, we're offering a discount if you wanted people to say we're offering a discount if you use Ethereum instead of paying through, and then you learn how to sell. I don't know. Does Coinbase have we can collaborate here. Do you have a good answer to that question around crypto to traditional payment methods? Like a good anything you've seen?
Pay.
Yeah, Coinbase Pay. Let's plug it.
It's easy here on it.
Yeah.
For you put it, it's basically.
Yeah. Coinbase Pay. Well, thank you guys. I'm happy to have you. You learned a little bit.